I've had this struggle being a commuter in the DMV area. For those that don't know, the DMV area, I'm talking about DC, Maryland, Virginia area in particular. I spend most of my time in Virginia, and due to just the nature of the jobs I've had and the work that I do, my commute has shifted from a 30-ish minute commute. And outside of just, adjusting to driving in traffic and just dealing with the hustle of commuting and whatnot, I think we all kind of try to, in this area, that live in this area, are like trying to figure out, best ways to get to and from work, how to make the most of it, whether we're listening to music or podcasts. Or my partner, for example, she loves to call her friends. She's always calling. She's always on the phone. For me in particular, I think about how not only are we trying to live in this area and afford it as prices go up and just the cost to do anything to get around this area, this DMV area, continues to go up, but then we're also like butting heads against this idea that we have to monetize and bring value to the things that we're doing. And I think we live in a world where the internet has kind of proliferated this idea of monetization and how we do it and maximizing our time. And then social media has put a presence on our day-to-day lives and the ways we live, and every single minute or habit or task or whatever is filmed or streamed or shown. And people do this, to make money. People do it to make a living. People matter, good, bad, and different. I think I have struggled with that as someone who does like to maximize their time. Pretty disciplined, concerned with habits and such. I found myself with this new job over the last 8 to 9 months, where I've had this larger commute, like just wondering, okay, how do I maximize my commute? And maybe it's not necessarily monetizing, but I'm asking this question of like, all right, what value can I bring? Question here then is that I'm trying to kind of explore with bringing value to what I'm doing, which is how can I be a more wholesome human being? How that's called the examine life. How can I do that and really learn and gain something from it while on the drive? Oftentimes I think it's easy for us to get into a mode, a habit or routine of doing things, but we do it absent-minded, we do it mindlessly. And I think when you do certain things unconscious, it's okay. So maybe brushing your teeth or making your bed, small stuff to larger stuff like going to the gym or checking in with family members. When you do those things regularly or unconsciously, that's good. But then there are other things that we can do unconsciously or mindlessly. You're driving and you have that moment where you've gotten from one point to another point and you don't even remember the drive. You were so detached from it that you did it unconsciously. But when you're thinking about driving a car, how unsafe is it to really not be present? So when I talk about mindfulness mindless versus mindful, you have these unconscious things that we're doing on a regular basis. Maybe it's the way we scroll social media, or we turn on the TV when we sit idle for a few minutes. It's just natural to grab the remote, turn on a thing, or start streaming something. Like, when that becomes an unconscious habit, maybe you wonder and start to question, like, why am I doing it? If you're not taking that moment to step back and do that, it can become a mindless activity. So I think on this drive, my commutes that I have daily, X amount of times per week, I'm trying to be more mindful of things. And maybe it's talking, maybe it's talking to the camera, maybe it could just be talking to myself. Maybe some days I still do these things, whether I'm talking things out with myself, or I'm just trying to flesh out an idea. I do that without having to turn on a camera. But at the same time, maybe by doing this, and this is that next piece about mindfulness and attention to things that I'm hopeful about, is that maybe there's some value for whoever's listening, right? Maybe there's something for you as the viewer or as the listener that you can pull from this and think about. You can pull from this and have critiques for me or have feedback for me, and then the conversation or the drive becomes a conversation. My commute, this individual kind of singular focused thing, becomes a community, becomes a space where we collectively as human beings can share in our successes and failures, and the highs and lows, the joys that we feel, where we can express the feral moments that we have as we navigate this flesh and life and bone that we have in this space and time. And that kind of excites me, but it's all